Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuren. Let's take a look at President Buhari awaits release of white paper to constitute NDDC board. Federal government moves to resolve nationwide blackout in emergency meeting with electricity workers. Plus, China induces rainfall to combat severe drought. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First, in our news tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari has given fresh conditions for the inauguration of the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). According to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Umana Umana, the condition is centered on the release of a white paper detailing all those who committed infractions against the agency following the recent forensic audit ordered by the President. Umana gave the indication while briefing reporters on the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting. Reacting to insinuations on the delay in constituting the board of NDDC, he said nobody was averse to the exercise. Rather, the white paper needed to be released to ascertain those who were culpable in fleecing the agency. In a related development, federal government has approved additional variation cost to settle consultancy services for the forensic audit on the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). The cost of variation, which ran into over 765 million naira, was secured at the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. The original cost for the audit was 1.786 billion naira, which President Buhari had ordered for the exercise following widespread allegation of corruption and abandoned projects by the Commission in the past. Briefing correspondents on the outcome of the meeting, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs Umana Umana said the Council approved the revised additional sum to cover the additional works done by the forensic auditors on various NDDC projects. Away from that, President Buhari has sworn in a new chairman for the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Mohammed Shehu. The swearing-in of the chairman was held before the commencement of the weekly virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council at the Council Chambers of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Bello's appointment followed the resignation of the immediate past chairman, Elias Mbam, who contested the All Progressives Congress gubernatorial primary election in Abia. Speaking to journalists after the exercise, Bello promised to work hard to assist the country gain more revenues within the confines of extant laws. He also pledged the collaboration of the Commission with stakeholders to ensure that Nigeria strengthened its monetary mechanisms. In a separate development, President Muhammadu Buhari has felicitated the Archbishop of Benue and Prelate-elect of Methodist Church Nigeria, Most Reverend Oliver Abba. The President commended the Methodist Church in the country for the peaceful and transparent biennial conference in Abuja, which led to Reverend Abba's emergence. In a statement signed by his spokesman Femi Adesina, President Buhari urged Abba and all religious leaders to pray for Nigeria. According to the statement, the President also saluted the outgoing prelate, His Eminence Samuel Uche, for his achievements in the spiritual and physical growth of the Church during his 9-year tenure. He called on all Nigerians, especially religious leaders, to intensify prayers for the peace and security of the nation. Now, Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Falashade Yamir-san, has called on permanent secretaries to prioritize the training of civil servants in areas of information and communication technology. According to Yamie-san, the training will ensure a speed up of the digitization process currently ongoing in the civil service. The head of service made the call during a service-wide webinar on digitization organized by her office to sensitize the federal civil servants across the nation. Yamie-san took the audience through the level of implementation of the digitization process in her office and the efforts of the government in fast-tracking implementation, including the development and documentation of standard operating system for all departments and units. Away from that, Minister of Labor and Employment Chris Ngige has summoned an emergency meeting with the National Union of Electricity Employees who had shut down services nationwide. This is as the workers embarked on an industrial action today and withdrew their services from the Kaduna regional headquarters of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, in line with the union's national leadership directive. However, the minister invited the union to a meeting aimed at resolving their grievances. Before the meeting, the Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, had assured Nigerians that the government had all requirements to solve the supply challenge soon. Meanwhile, striking workers of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, today shut down the electricity national grid, causing blackouts across the country. The strike by the workers under the aegis of the National Union of Electricity Employees was triggered by the directive of the TCN board that all principal managers who are in acting capacity undergo promotion interviews. The impact of the strike began unfolding at about 10 a.m. today, when the grid dropped from 4,149 megawatts recorded at 6 a.m. to 2,600 megawatts. The grid capacity continued to drop as more workers at transmission stations downed tools. Still in power, federal government has blamed the inability to reach its earlier proposed generation target of 5,000 megawatts on gas shortage. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, confirmed this to State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. It could be recalled that the Minister of State for Power, Mohammed Notezai, had on July 1 announced that an additional 5,000 megawatts of electricity would be added to the national grid by March 2023. However, with the current supply below the target and fluctuating, the Power Minister blamed gas supply, saying his ministry did not have exclusive control to the vital resource. He explained that 80% of the country's power generation came from gas, and the sustainability of gas to generate plants had been constrained largely due to breakdown, vandalism, maintenance work, or disruption of supply to power plants. According to him, whereas the government had entered into a firm contract with the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, power generation had remained around 4,000 megawatts because of the problem of gas. Nigerians are set to benefit from a new trading scheme in the United Kingdom that will cut price tariffs on hundreds of everyday products exported into the country from 2023. The UK's International Trade Secretary Anne-Marie Trevelyan announced this at the official launch of the Developing Countries Trading Scheme in Abuja. Trevelyan noted that the new scheme was to reduce the cost of living and help support economies of developing countries in the face of a global recession. She said the trading scheme will assist British businesses earn $750 million per year from reduced import costs, leading to more choice and lower costs for the UK consumers to help with the cost of living. On legislative matters now, the Public Account Committee of the House of Representatives has resolved to unmask the real identities of the owners of companies which took contracts worth 18.9 billion naira from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for clearing of bushes, land preparation, soil plant lab rehabilitation, and others during the last COVID-19 lockdown of the country. The resolution followed the appearance of representatives of 2 of the 20 affected companies at the resumed investigative hearing of the Committee on Queries to Ministries, Departments and Agencies of the Federal Government by the Office of Auditor General of the Federation. The committee, chaired by Wole Oke, said the 2 representatives of the companies, Johnson Philip and Taiwo Idowu, were of the managerial cadre and as such not competent to appear before the committee going by the rules of the House. Consequently, the committee directed the duo to leave immediately and directed that the managing directors or chairman of the companies should personally appear before it and speak to the submission before the committee. Oke directed the clerk of the committee to write to the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission to furnish the committee with detailed information of the affected 20 companies, including year of incorporation, corporate offices, names of the owners, shareholders, among others. He assured Nigerians that the committee would carry out diligent investigation into the matter, as it was interested in finding out the location of the projects and the significance of such projects to the country. Away from that, suspended General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, Joyce Odua, has dragged the national executives to court. The sanctioned scribe also sued the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, in a suit before the Federal High Court, Abuja. Odua is challenging her suspension after an emergency meeting of the National Executive Committee on August 15. The litigant insists it violates Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The application asks the court to determine whether the 3rd to 11th defendants have the power to suspend the plaintiff from the office. Odua also cited Sections 239, 242, and 288 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the Constitution of the Nigerian Bar Association 2015 as amended in 2021. She asked the court to declare the resolution of the NVA emergency meeting null, void, illegal, and unconstitutional. Now in politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has approved the redeployment of some of its resident electoral commissioners as part of the preparations for the 2023 general elections and posting of staff. The redeployment was announced in a statement issued by the INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman for Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, in Abuja. Okoye said the redeployment and posting affected 385 staff nationwide and was a routine exercise which will continue from time to time. According to Okoye, the resident electoral commissioner in Cross River State, Dr. Cyril Omorobe, had been redeployed to serve in same capacity in Akwa Ibom State, while that of Edo State had been moved to Cross River State. He further noted that the redeployment and postings will take immediate effect, while handing and taking over will be concluded on or before Friday, August 26. On security matters, the Nigerian Army has commenced a week-long seminar for veterans from the northeastern part of the country. The event was declared open by the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, Amadu Fintiri, at Yola, Adamawa State. In a message via its verified Facebook page, the military said the program was geared towards sustaining national security in line with the Chief of Army Staff initiative. Governor Fintiri commended the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, for the strategic program of reintegrating and engaging the veterans who had paid the utmost price to keep the country safe and united. He also expressed gratitude to the veterans for their selfless service to the nation and urged them to always contribute to the national security. In his keynote address, the Army Chief, who was represented by the General Officer Commanding 3 Division, Major General Ibrahim Ali, reminded the veterans that they had important roles to play in the critical security challenges facing the country. He equally said the Nigerian Army was committed to improving the living conditions of the veterans. Elsewhere, Jigawa state government has ordered immediate closure of all public and private schools in the state over security threats. Commissioner for Education Dr. Loan Danzomo confirmed this to newsmen in his office. Danzomo explained that the directive was not peculiar to Jigawa but all the states, especially the border states. The state government had directed the immediate closure of all primary and secondary schools without further delay, while the students were taking their terminal examinations. According to reports, the sudden closure has caused panicking among residents, students, and teachers. Back here, the coalition of retired primary school teachers and their next of kin have again protested the alleged non-payment of their emoluments by the Akwa Ibom state government, despite their continuous appeal to Governor Domi. Speaking at the venue of the protest, the coordinator of the group said the 1 billion naira recently released by the governor was not enough. He therefore appealed to the governor to pay the entitlements of persons whose sacrifices had contributed to the growth of the state.
Yes, and then without receiving their entitlement. We want to tell the governor that from 2015 we have passed through so much, and it is time for him to take the responsibility and pay off this money. The government of Governor Atta paid 10 years. The government of Governor Akpabio paid 10 years. Yes. His government should pay nothing less than 10 years. Yes. Not even paid off. And so we demand. And after knowing that the total indebtedness is 33 billion, he has just released only 1 billion. Is that enough? No! How can you solve the problem of 33 billion with only 1 billion? Is it possible? No! And so we ask the governor that he should follow what the governor of Borno State is doing. He should follow what the governor of Rivers State is doing. And even the governor of Kaduna State. Borno State released over 12 billion for the payment of this entitlement.
Still to come in the news. Nigeria orders to export duty-free to UK from 2023. Do stay with us. thanks for staying tuned. Now in Africa, United States has urged Kenyans to stay calm and be patient after William Ruto was declared winner of the presidential election and immediately faced a challenge from rival Raila Odinga. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price urged all parties to work together to peacefully resolve any remaining concerns about the election through the existing dispute resolution mechanisms. Odinga had narrowly lost his fifth bid for the top job to Deputy President Ruto, who was proclaimed president-elect on a 230,000 vote margin, less than 2 percentage points of the total number of ballots. According to reports, no presidential poll outcome has gone uncontested in Kenya since 2002, and the disputes have led to bloodshed in the past. Meanwhile, the head of Kenya's electoral body, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, has accused the 4 commissioners who refused to endorse the presidential election result of trying to subvert the constitution. In a statement, Wafula Chebukati described how he saw events behind the scenes on Monday, when the planned announcement of the results was delayed by several hours. He said the 4 commissioners, who later went on to distance themselves from the outcome, demanded that the chairperson moderate the results for the purpose of forcing an election rerun, contrary to their oath of office. Chebukati said such action was tantamount to subverting the constitution and the sovereign will of the people of Kenya. He insisted that in announcing that William Ruto had won despite objections, he was acting within the law. Still in Africa, authorities in Sudan have said the number of deaths due to flash floods in several parts of the country has risen to 77. A spokesman for the Emergency Services, Brigadier Al-Jalil Abdal Halim, told journalists that thousands of homes had been completely destroyed, with the River Nile and Al Jazeera states worst affected. He said thousands of square kilometers of arable land were underwater. The local administrations are providing tents and food, but have appealed to the Khartoum government and international organizations for aid to prevent waterborne diseases. Elsewhere, UK ministers have partially lost an attempt to keep secret a series of comments about Rwanda from an advisor. The High Court said some of what the advisor had told ministers had to be disclosed in a major court case over would damage relations with the African country. The court heard that the advisor had warned ministers that Rwanda's government tortured and killed political opponents. While that warning of political violence was disclosed in court, it remained secret. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office advisor had looked at revisions to the government's own report into Rwanda's human rights record. That document was being updated as ministers planned to send asylum seekers on a flight to Rwanda under the controversial relocation scheme announced in April. On the foreign scene, Israel and Turkey are looking to restore full diplomatic ties and reappoint their ambassadors. Turkish and Israeli officials confirmed this to newsmen. The restoration follows years of strained relations between the two Mediterranean nations. It would be recalled that Turkey and Israel had expelled respective ambassadors in 2018 over the killing of 60 Palestinians by Israeli forces during protests of the Gaza border against the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. However, they have reportedly been working to mend long-strained ties, with energy emerging as a key area for potential cooperation. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid's office said the two countries decided to restore full diplomatic ties. Still on the foreign scene now, the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine is expected to be on the agenda when UN Chief Antonio Guterres holds talks tomorrow with President Volodymyr Zelensky and Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. UN spokesman Stephanie Dujarric said the three leaders will discuss the need for a political solution to the conflict. It would be recalled that Ukraine and Russia, two of the world's biggest grain exporters, had agreed a deal brokered by the UN and Turkey last month to unblock Black Sea grain deliveries after Russia's invasion. Meanwhile, Ukraine is expecting 5 ships to arrive at its Chornomorsk Black Sea port today to be loaded with more than 70,000 tons of agricultural products. According to reports, the envoy will be the largest so far under an unbrokered deal to assure the safe passage of ships exporting grain. In a statement, the Ukrainian Seaports Authority said the new cargoes would include wheat, corn, and sunseed oil. The Seaports Authority said 24 ships carrying food had left Ukrainian ports so far during the 17 days of the grain corridor operation under the initiative of the safe transportation of grain and foodstuffs. In the meantime, Russia forecasts its average export gas price will more than double this year to $730 per 1,000 cubic meters before gradually falling until the end of 2025 amid a decrease in pipeline gas exports. According to an economy ministry forecast, gas flows from Russia, Europe's top supplier, are currently running at reduced levels in the wake of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and some European countries have been cut off for refusing to pay for gas in rubles. Gas prices have surged as a result. Now, Russia's economy ministry has forecast that pipeline gas exports by Gazprom will fall to 170.4 billion cubic meters this year, compared with its forecast published in May of 185 billion cubic meters. In 2021, Russia's pipeline gas exports were 205.6 billion cubic meters. Still on the crisis in Ukraine, Russia opposition leader Alexei Navalny has called on the West to impose more sanctions on Russian oligarchs. Navalny said sanctions were needed to force the aggressor to stop the war. He was writing in an appeal from the prison camp where he is serving a 9-year sentence on a fraud conviction, which rights observers have called politically motivated. According to the opposition leader, they do not require anything but political will. Elsewhere, Chinese authorities are attempting to induce rainfall in parts of central and southwest China amid a severe drought and record-breaking heatwave. The Yangtze River, Asia's longest waterway, is now at record low levels, and in some stretches there has been less than half the usual rainfall. Officials say hydropower reservoirs are currently down by as much as half. At the same time, a surge in demand for air conditioning has put power companies under extreme pressure. The National Climate Center said the 2-month-long heat wave is the longest on record in China. Reports say provinces around the drought-stricken Yangtze River have turned to cloud seeding operations to combat the lack of rain, with Hubei and a number of other provinces launching rockets carrying chemicals into the sky. However, a lack of cloud cover has stalled efforts in some areas seeking to do the same. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. We have Blyden Ukem standing by.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening. It's another business day. My name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, we begin with Manchester United's share price. The shares of Premier League football club Manchester United rose by 5.26% at pre-market after world's richest man Elon Musk disclosed that he plans to acquire the Old Trafford side. Musk stated this on Tuesday during a rant on social media platform Twitter. Following his disclosure, United's stock price on the New York Stock Exchange rose to $13.838 on today's pre-market as high demand among investors saw the value rise from the previous closing price of $12.77. However, the share depreciated after trading resumed as Musk clarified that his tweet was a long-running joke on Twitter and he doesn't have any plan to acquire Manchester United, the English club. Manchester United's stock fell to $12.78 per share, but is still above the $12.77 it closed trading a day before. Note that Musk had also previously joked about acquiring Coca-Cola after disclosing he was buying Twitter. The social media deal is yet to be completed, with the billionaire pulling out of the Twitter deal. Food costs have pushed price of inflation in the UK higher to new levels at 40-year high. Soaring food costs have pushed UK inflation into double digits for the first time since 1982, with prices continuing to rise at their fastest rate for more than 40 years. Inflation hit 10.1% in the 12 months to July, up from 9.4% in June, according to the Office for National Statistics. Soaring living costs are eating into households' budgets, with prices rising faster than wages. Meanwhile, the Bank of England had said inflation could peak at more than 13% this year. Looking at the British High Commissions, as it says that Nigeria orders are to export with exports duty-free to the UK from 2023. The United Kingdom has launched a developing country trading scheme that will see Nigeria and other countries export to the UK duty-free from 2023. The British High Commission made the announcement in a statement to journalists. According to the Commission, the scheme launched by Anne-Maria Traversian, Secretary of State for International Trade of the United Kingdom, cuts tariff on hundreds of more products exported from Nigeria and other developing countries. It also noted that the scheme of free tariff goes further than the European Union's generalized scheme of preferences. The scheme would ensure a wide variety of products, from clothes and shoes to foods that are not widely produced in the UK, including olive oil and tomatoes, will benefit from lower or zero tariffs. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark all-share index sparred 18.29 basis points to close at 49,691.17 points. Compared with the previous trading day, today's data shows 37% decline in volume, 151% improvement in turnover, but 4% decline in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 26.8 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 108 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 10 gainers and 16 losers. Prestige Assurance Company led the gainers with 9.09% share price appreciation, closing at 48 kobo per share. On the losing side, Unveils Business Solutions came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.8% at 46 kobo per share. First Bank Nigeria Holdings recorded the highest volume of 28.4 million traded shares. This is all on business news, And back to Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Blyden. Well, reports reaching our studios currently is that the National Union of Electricity Employees has suspended its strike. This follows a meeting with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, today. According to a statement from the head press and public relations of the ministry, the union's Secretary General Joe Ajaero had assured the minister that all necessary steps would be taken to restore the supply of electricity to the country immediately. Still to come in the news. Quintana disqualified from 2022 Tour de France for drug infringement. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in health, the Nigerian Medical Association is warning that the nation's skyrocketing brain drain wave may culminate in the country resorting to hiring medical doctors to treat local patients in the future. The chairman of the Oyo State chapter of the association, Dr. Ayotunde Fashunla, raised the alarm in Ibadan at the official opening of the 2022 scientific conference titled National Health Authority Act, the Soundbites. Fashunla also warned that if urgent steps were not taken to fix the situation, it may lead to a total collapse of the health system in the country. He also called for a state of emergency in the health sector to holistically address the menace of pull and push factors responsible for the mass migration of health personnel to Europe, America, the Middle East, and other African countries. The NMA boss further decried the poor state of government-owned hospitals in the country and advocated rehabilitation. Still in health, Director General of the National Blood Service Commission, Dr. Omale Amedu, says more than 90% of health facilities in Nigeria engage in unregulated blood activities. Dr. Ahmedu noted that less than 1% of health facilities involved in the blood business were registered with the Commission. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on the implementation of the blood service regulatory policies as provided in the NBSC Act 2021, Ahmedu said all blood establishments, including healthcare facilities, needed to be regulated and coordinated. He said all federal government hospitals, FCT health facilities, private hospitals, individuals and international health facilities involved in blood transfusion, blood component separation, and apheresis in Nigeria were to register with the Commission within 30 days or face sanctions as provided by the NH Act 2014 and the NBSC Act 2021. It's over now to Bright James for trending sports stories.
Thank you, Steve Robert. Good evening and welcome to the Sports Desk. I am Bright James. We'll begin with cycling, where Colombian rider Nairo Quintana has been disqualified for the 2022 Tour de France for an in-competition drug infringement, the UCI has announced. Analysis of 2 blood samples from the 32-year-old showed the presence of banned drug tramadol. Quintana has now been stripped of his overall 6th place finish, but has 10 days to appeal against the decision. As it is a first offense by Quintana, he is still eligible to participate in competition. Earlier yesterday, Quintana's Aki Samsic team announced he had signed a contract extension until 2025, but he has been omitted from the squad for the Vuelta a España, which begins on Friday. Quintana won that event in 2016, as well as the Giro d'Italia in 2014, but has 2 second-place finishes in the Tour de France. Using tramadol is an offense not only under the UCI medical rules, but of the side effects, including dizziness, drowsiness, and loss of attention. Though banned since 2019, it doesn't constitute anti-doping rule violations. Now elsewhere, a personal best high jump performance propelled Great Britain's Jad O'Dowda to 4th overall in the heptathlon of the 2 of 7 events at the European Championships in Munich. O'Dowda, who won Commonwealth bronze for England in Birmingham earlier this month, cleared 1.80 meters, 5 centimeters higher than she has previously jumped outdoors. Belgium's world and Olympic champion Nafi Thiam leads with 2,285 points. Compatriot Norwitz and Poland's Adriana Sulek is 2nd and 3rd. O'Dowda's 1,996 points, 84 behind Sulek, while fellow Briton Holly Mills, who finished 4th in the Commonwealth Games and World Indoors this season, lies 16th after struggling to find a rhythm in the high jump. Britain's Catherine Johnson-Thompson has opted to miss the Europeans after competing at the World Championships in Oregon and winning gold at Birmingham 2022 in the past weeks. Now to more stories from tennis. Now, former champions Venus Williams and Dominic Thiem have been handed wildcards into the US Open. Williams, who won at Flushing Meadows in 2000 and 2001, will compete at the age of 42 as she continues a comeback from a recent injury. Williams will be making her 23rd US Open main draw appearance. Former champions Venus and, of course, Thiem, according to reports, have gotten the wildcard invitation. For Austrian, Dominic Thiem returns to the tournament after a niggling injury which has kept him out of action for quite a while now. Williams is looking to make an impact in her 23rd US Open main draw appearance here. And that's it from the Sports Desk this evening. I am Bright James. Thank you for watching.
On the entertainment stories we're tracking for you at this time, ace singer Wizkid has reassured his teeming fans, Wizkid FC, that he will be dropping his next album soon. the global superstar, who updated his fans on the anticipated album More Love, Less Ego via his Insta stories, had already hinted on plan to release his new album earlier this month, but that never happened. However, in a recent post, Wizkid noted that after 2 years since he released his last album, Made in Lagos, his fans should anticipate the new one. Away from that, a court of appeal has upheld the judgment of Kano State High Court, which ordered the retrial of Kano singer Yahaya Sharif Aminu, who was sentenced to death for alleged blasphemy. The verdict was passed by a 3-member panel of justices: Justice I.G. Mbaba, Justice B.M. Ugo, and Justice Abubakar Lamido. Aminu, a resident of Sharifai in Kano, was arrested and arraigned before Upper Sharia Court for allegedly committing derogatory utterances against Prophet Muhammad in a song he circulated through social media in 2020. The singer was charged under Section 382B of Sharia Penal Code Law of Kano 2000 and convicted to death by hanging by the Upper Sharia Court in Kano. The counsel to the accused, Barrister Kola Alapini, approached the Kano State Court asking it to quash the judgment of the trial court on the grounds that the convict was not represented by a lawyer, contrary to the doctrine of fair hearing and natural justice. Alapini also urged the court to quash the charge, alleging that the Sharia Penal Code law contravened the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Away from that, Simon Cowell has led the tribute to pop idol and West End star Darius Campbell Danish, calling his death at 41 an absolute tragedy. Recall that Cowell was a judge on the show, on which Campbell Danish finished third in 2002 behind Gareth Gates and winner Will Young in the inaugural series. Cowell said Campbell Danish, whom he first met on television over 20 years ago, was charismatic, funny, and a great person to be with. The cause of Campbell Danish's death is not known, but his family said he was found in his U.S. apartment. Gareth Gates described Campbell Danish as a big brother who took him under his wing during their time together on the show. And finally, on entertainment, the finale of Better Call Saul has been praised as masterful by critics, as Netflix's Breaking Bad spin-off drew to a close after 6 seasons. The prequel, which focuses on Bob Odenkirk's character Jimmy McGill, had launched in 2015. It shows him developing into the vain criminal defense lawyer Saul Goodman. Variety's Dario described it as a striking and elegant finale to one of TV's most consistently strong dramas of the past decade. The critic concluded that Saul's story will be remembered as an achievement from an era of television that seemed to have ended before the show itself did. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, and have a terrific night rest.